University of California, Santa Barbara did an outstanding job coming from behind to pick up that apparent third spot in the Women's Collegiate Club Division 2-3. And we're about ready to go for the second heat in this grouping. Exciting finish for you. DVD available about an hour after the race at the merchandise tent. We're about ready to go with event number 14.
San Diego B.
Down at SeaWorld Cove now, lane 1, University of California, Santa Barbara. Lane 2, Sonoma State. Lane 3, University of Central Oklahoma. Lane 4, Mills College. And in lane 5, UC San Diego. This is event 14, Women's Collegiate D2, D3 Club, Heat B. The aligner's flag is up.
Attention.
Attention.
Go.
Go. And we have a start. Very even off the start. A little advantage to UC Santa Barbara. The Gauchos in lane 1. We have 4 crews within 2 seats. The only crew that's falling back a little bit are the Seawolves from Sonoma State. UC Santa Barbara now establishes their rhythm. And they've got a 1 boat length advantage over lane 3, University of Central Oklahoma. The 3rd position in lane 4, Mills College. Then 5, UC San Diego, and in the 6th spot, Sonoma State. Oklahoma's being warned to alter course. In fact, they've overlapped oars with lane number 4. So lane 3 here had to stop because they were overlapped oars with lane 4, and now they trail. So your race leaders, we come to the 500 meter mark. UC Santa Barbara with now open water over lane 4, Mills College. 3rd spot goes to Sonoma State. 4th, Central Oklahoma, recovering from that collision. And the 5th spot in lane 5, UC San Diego.
This is event number 13, the San Diego Zoo and Safari Park Cup, the Women's Collegiate Club, second of 2 heats, and on the lead substantially with a great start, University of California, Santa Barbara. 2nd position is in lane 4, that is Mills College. In lane 2, California State University, Sonoma State. In lane 3, University of Central Oklahoma with a little bit of problem with their lane adjustment. Lane 4, as we mentioned, Mills College, and lane 5, the University of California, San Diego B crew.
Okay.
Top 3 crews will move on in this one, and they will try to join the crews that we had earlier as winners in the previous race. Event number 14 on the water.
And here we're seeing an earlier shot.
Along the shoreline, continuing on the lead, the University of California, Santa Barbara.
We're seeing an earlier shot in this race of the overlapping of oars and the clash of oars in the race. The crews came together. The crew from Central Oklahoma moved over into the lane to their right and then had to move away again.
So there might be a protest on the completion of this race, so we'll have to wait for some sort of official word on that. It appeared that they may have touched, but wasn't quite definitive. So we'll have to see how that works out. The University of California, Santa Barbara continues on the lead. And out in the far outside is Mills College in second spot. The contact between the University of Central Oklahoma and Cal State Sonoma may enter into this race as it moves to its completion on the far outside. That's the University of California San Diego B boat.
In lane 1, the UC Santa Barbara crew, they're having an unbeaten season so far. They've beaten UC San Diego, UC Irvine and Long Beach State. On the far side, Mills, they've beaten Pacific but lost to Sacramento State. And in between them, Sonoma State in lane 2. They've beaten Mills and Pacific but lost to Sacramento State, St. Mary's, Humboldt State and UC San Diego. And the crew in lane 3, the big visitors from the Midwest, Central Oklahoma, they've lost to Barry, Nova Southeastern and Florida Tech at the moment. As they come down past the 500-meter mark, UC Santa Barbara still commanding this race. Mills look like they've had a strong race out in lane 4. They look reasonably comfortable for the second position in the grand final of this event, but it's a real tussle between Central Oklahoma and Sonoma State for that third qualifying position in the grand final in the Division II, Division III club event.
Right at the 750 mark to go in the race, Charles, University of California, Santa Barbara had a little bit of a problem and had to adjust their lanes. That might give Mills College on the outside an opportunity to close down and might account for their excellent run during those 500 meters. Central Oklahoma on the outside and Cal State Sonoma were the two that ran into a problem with lane problems. Central Oklahoma being noted as the one having the problem. They are currently going nose to nose for that third and final position. Along the shoreline, the University of California, Santa Barbara continues to lead as they have throughout, and apparently their mid-course correction there has not cost them dearly, as Mills College made a bit of a run, but are now falling back to an open water distance between the two crews. So our attention will turn to the third spot as Sonoma State has really cranked it up. They have picked up tremendous strides here in the last several strokes, and they're closing on the Central Oklahoma crew. Back to the start, Santa Barbara apparently will be our winner, and they will be followed by Mills College on the outside. But the third and final qualifying spot as Central Oklahoma is trying to fight off Sonoma State, and it looks like they may accomplish that. Sonoma State, with about 500 meters to go, really slugged it up and made a run at Central Oklahoma, but Central Oklahoma does come in, at least finish on that third spot. We'll see what the situation is, as even at the finish line, Central Oklahoma had moved over and into the second lane, or the lane next to them, and there will probably be some discussion about this. So unofficially, as they crossed the finish line, it was the University of California, Santa Barbara and Mills College, neither in any kind of a dispute. However, the finish of Central Oklahoma, Sonoma State will be probably questioned, with the University of California, San Diego B crew finishing in that fifth position.
Yes, certainly Central Oklahoma there seemed to have some problems keeping a straight line in their lane. They clashed with Mills early on in the race, and then as they wound it up for the finish, they moved over on the crew from Sonoma State, who were challenging them for that third qualifying spot in the final.
Everybody okay? Sit up. Sit up in the boat.
We will definitely need to wait for official results on event number 14. I'd like to mention that we have a rather large scoreboard a little bit north of the vendors area that you can keep track of all the activities that are going on here at the 2011 San Diego Crew Classic. Also like to invite you to stop by during through the vendors tent area. They have a lot of outstanding companies who have been represented here at the Crew Classic, and they're certainly looking forward to having you stop by and see what they have to offer. Race number 15 is next up. It's the women's collegiate lightweight. This is a preliminary heat. And Vita Water Cup is the sponsor, and we'll be starting that one off here shortly.
This race, Alan, is a race for lanes in the final. It's a preliminary. It's been a fairly random draw for this race, but depending on their positions in this race will determine the lanes they draw in the final.
University of Victoria, Georgetown, Stanford B, British Columbia,